All right, guys, here we go. What do you think, Red? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to the third episode of the Poke Parent Podcast, and we are thankful to have on recent friend who we got to meet at one of our events that we went to is the CardFather TCG, also known as Gary.
What's up,
Gary, how
guys?
you
How
doing
are
tonight,
we?
man?
I'm
That's
good,
his real
man.
name?
Hanging
His
in
name's
here, having a
Gary.
good time.
Good.
Wait, are you the actor for the snail in SpongeBob?
Gary.
Ryder, you're fired, bro. You're
Oh,
fired.
yeah, go
You're
there.
fired.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, we're super glad we could get you on here. I know we've kind of like went from like 0 to 100 in the last couple weeks of getting to know each other. Kind of some like quick and awesome memories there, real quick. Hey, Hunter. Hey,
Yeah.
Hobby.
Bobby.
You said hi, right? Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So Javi and Hunter. But yeah, man. So let's kind of dive on in, right? You want to ask?
Yeah,
the first
absolutely.
This.
Any question you want. What is a question you have for the card father, also known as Gary?
What's your most expensive card?
What's the most
Yeah.
expensive card you have in your collection?
That's a good question. So to give you a quick preface on my collection, because of the nature of what I believe in for the TCG, for the hobby, I don't have much of a collection. And what I
Okay.
do collect is just offhand cards, which would be like any Charmeleon or Charmander or any of the Kanto set. The first three that I find. Those guys go into a binder. It doesn't matter how beat up or how good they are. That's because that's where my generation lies. But
Yeah.
because I'm also trying to start my business and get their things moving and open a card shop, I usually don't collect all the high end cards that I would love to keep. So I like to put them back into my business. Yeah. But I will tell you that the most recent cards that I found through my business would be this Machamp from Skyridge.
Skyridge Machamp.
How much is it?
Well, he goes for almost 200 brand new near mint, and he is
raw.
He is raw, yeah, and he is near mint. So
he's crispy.
Yeah, he's very, very minty. And then the second highest card that I currently have is this Gengar from Expedition.
That is awesome.
So these are the two currently the two highest, most valuable cards I own in the collection at the moment.
That is awesome. Well, to piggyback off of that, you kind of touch base on.
I'll show him my most expensive card in my binder
in a minute.
All right.
To piggyback off that, let's kind of dive in, man.
Yeah, man.
Give us your background. We kind of met you rather quickly through a mutual friend of ours, Travis, and love Travis. Travis has been really good to us, and we kind of hit the ground running, but really don't really know how you got started. What all do you do? We bought a mystery pack. We kind of went through some of that, but speak to the people. Tell them what you offer.
So okay, so CardFather was I'll give you the brief history. I entered high school in the year 2000 because I'm an old man. So just kind of
same.
I'm an old dude. Give me a second here. Just want to adjust this. It's a little dark. Yeah. So I entered high school in the year 2000. So Pokemon, was releasing right around that 1999, and I was a poor fellow with my mom and dad. Couldn't afford Pokemon. Couldn't afford very much of anything, let alone the Walmart tennis shoes and jeans that we could get.
Yep.
And so I didn't get to get into a lot of it right at the prime when I wanted to, but I always wanted Pokemon cards. I had friends who had it, so I was living vicariously through them. So fast forward to being an adult, my first love was Star Wars. Has always been Star Wars and will always remain Star Wars.
I was on that one.
Well, it's Star Wars. Yeah, I mean,
when Mando came out, we watched Mando together.
That late. Okay.
And then we watched the movies that late.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a challenge too, man. Like, so I Star Wars was always my favorite, and then Star Trek and Stargate, all the stars, and then I had my daughter, and so last year around the summertime, she comes to me and she says, Dad, got kids at school who are playing Pokemon. I want to learn to play. I cleared it with her mother, and I'm like, okay, let's go crack some packs. Let's find some packs. Let's go find how to play this game, because it was different back when I was playing. Back when I was learning to do it, it's changed. You didn't have the EXs and you didn't have the Vs or VMAXs.
Yes.
The V stars. So
what was the first packs you guys pulled or opened?
So we opened our first packs were Paldea Evolved, because that was the set that was out when we were doing it. That was the first set.
That's awesome.
And it was, now I'm not oblivious to Pokemon at all. I was never oblivious to Pokemon. So I know the sets, and I knew what was out. I just never afforded or had the mindset to collect anything. Yeah. I knew that some of them could be expensive, some of them could be cheap. Now, the first pack that we opened was from a Paldea Evolved ETB.
Okay.
And my daughter, and it's always the kids who pulled the bangers, dude. She pulled the Miriam 271.
Wow.
So she pulled the chase card from an ETB. And I didn't know. I was like, wow, that's a really cool card. So we looked it up, figured out how to look up cards, looked it up. And at that time, it was a $140 card. So we were like, wow, well, this is amazing. How is that possible? So that really kind of kicked off the addiction. The summer 23 binge addiction that we started having, where we were opening packs left and right, and going into this like mad spiral of abuse.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how it started. But me personally, like, it really turned into something, not because I was pulling bangers or that it's cracking packs, but I've always wanted to do something more meaningful. Outside of my normal job, outside of me going to church, outside of just my family, I've always wanted to do something more meaningful. I've always wanted to enrich community. And I've always wanted to always be a business owner. I never wanted to work for somebody else. I wanted to work for myself. My dad told me that if there's anything in life that I could ever do, it'd be to own my own thing. And so, that's what I tried to do. So we decided to start the business. So the name, the CardFather, comes from my wife. It's the brainchild of my wife. We were looking at Dad, and we were looking at Dad Pokey, and all these.
There's 20 of them on YouTube.
Yeah, like these Dad to Pokey things, and I decided I don't want to have a name that starts with the word Pokey in it.
Yep.
So she was like, "Well, you're Italian, and you like the Godfather. Why don't we just call you the CardFather?"
That's awesome.
That's where it went. So everywhere I go, people were like, dude, that's really clever. It's really good. So if my wife watches this or hears me, because she is probably upstairs in our kitchen right now, all the credit goes to my wife. Yeah, kudos to my wife, my babe, my love.
Yeah, that's something somebody we got really close to through the community is 026 Gonzo. He's pretty well versed, and that was one thing that he talked about. Somebody starting out is like, try to stay away from the Pokey, which we have the Pokey in ours. We see Pokey Hunter and Pokey Hobby. Nothing against that, but it is harder. You get blended in through the searches with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do.
And it doesn't really make you stand out as much as how many CardFathers are there?
There's two. There's two outside of me, and both of those guys are sports CardFathers. So yeah, so I did very extensive research before, putting the name out there, or, obviously from my hat, I have the Pokeball, so it kind of sets me apart, and the CF is CardFather.
See, we have a lot of similarities and a lot of polar opposites at the same time. No, just a hobby.
Can I now show him?
Go ahead and grab your binder. It's over there.
Let's do this, man.
I don't know. Yeah. Just grab your binder. We can look at it. But we were similar. We started. We went to NAICs. And that was
last year.
Yep. Ryder had come home a couple times talking about Pokemon, and I'm like, yeah, Pokemon. And then I wanted to surprise him, and so we got tickets to that Sunday, and we went, and it was like, boom, like the amount of generosity from the community and how nice everybody was. And I'm over here out of my element, and looking back, there was probably a couple trades I let him make that, like, now I think like, oh, he got taking to the cleaners on, just out of ignorance, just because I didn't know. I mean,
for sure,
somebody took advantage probably.
Like my trainer card.
Yes. That was the big one. But then you had other people who were just like, you know what? Here's a card. Like, and they were like, hey, what's your favorite Pokemon? And they'd find something out of their collection and give it to them. And it was really honestly pretty awesome. And then, we started collecting. We actually won a giveaway from Team Pocket. We won a Paldea booster box from Team Pocket and a graded card. And he pulled the Magikarp.
Oh yeah,
yes, and
that card is phenomenal, man. That
sent
card
it to got graded. It's graded through CGC, and then he actually pulled a second one that we put in our master set. So anytime we need a card, it's through this guy.
Man.
He wants to show his card now. So this was a gift through. Ghastly Grabs?
I've heard of him. Yeah,
we connected through Ghastly, also through Gonzo and some of the community, and had a gentleman reach out named John. Shout out to John if he is watching. He just went through some scary hell stuff and is doing better now, but he gifted this card to Ryder.
It's a $90 Mewtwo here.
Oh yes, dude. Those are. I have tried so hard to find those cards that
the only place I found him.
I also have another card I really like. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Be careful. Slow down. Be careful.
And I have another expensive card. I'll be back.
Hey, put that one back. Put it back. Slow down. That way nothing happens to it. Kids. But I had actually the card shop that we count as like our home shop that we spend a lot of time out of. I was actually talking to the guy that puts on the TCG play, and I found a Snorlax for him, and I was like, hey, here you go. Found it on eBay. Which one's that?
Armored Mewtwo here.
Your Armored Mewtwo.
Oh yeah, the Armored Mewtwo.
Yeah.
The artworks on those are just amazing.
They're insane.
They are. Well, that's cool, man. The thing is, like, the cool thing about the Pokemon community, is it's not like any other community.
No,
it's really not. It's really not as self-involved as other TCG communities are.
It is very selfless.
It's very selfless, yeah. And the thing is, like, yes, there are people out there who all they want to do is rip to resell, right? There are people out there who just want to make a quick dollar off of Pokemon. Then there are people, there are people on the farther spectrum of that, which is like where you guys sit, is like you guys are true collectors and admirers and advocates for the TCG, the actual cards in the game. And then there are people like myself where I sit in both. Like, I do want to make this a job. Like, I want this to be an actual business for myself because of the fact that I want to see people have joy in collecting, and I want them to have access to it. The one thing that was really cool when I was talking with some other resellers and things like that is the fact that because Pokemon is so selfless, and because it's meant to be selfless, the fact that we want to bring joy to the people, that there's enough Pokemon for everyone.
Yes.
Right. That's why I look at like other vendors who are doing the same thing I'm doing with the same selfless attitude. And I'm not in competition with those folks. We're a community. Yeah. We're building it together, so like,
and I think that's big, and lift each other up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. Like nowadays, man, we just don't get that. So it's cool to see Pokemon be revolved around that. And of course, like you and your son, it was a joy. Like the dude worked for me. Like he worked for me for like a solid 40 minutes, man. Like, I mean, he was doing a great job behind the booth.
He had so much fun.
I love that. And I appreciate Ryder coming out there and working with me behind that. And then we filmed our pack battle, together, which I know, like, the YouTube algorithms are sometimes ridiculously difficult to match, but that was one of the highest grossing videos for me, one of the shorts for me.
That is the highest grossing for us.
Yeah, which is amazing to see. Like, I'm sitting at 11,000 views, and I can't remember what you guys were sitting at. But
let me pull that up, because I was I haven't looked at it in a good handful of days, but there for a while I was speaking of the algorithm, and we I was messing around with it, and I was trying to do some research on it to, like, depending on what zone you're at, depends on what time of day.
Yep.
You should post. We are at 13,981.
See,
that's heads and above our biggest
14.
Our biggest one, though. Our biggest one is like 19K.
No, we've not had.
18K.
No, we've not had another video perform that.
But I mean, like 14K, that's nothing to balk at. Like,
no.
That's good.
Yeah, most views.
The next one under is 8,000, buddy.
Then remember one time there was one short that had like 18 something.
Maybe on our old channel, maybe. So.
Okay, I'm gonna show him.
Show him the card.
And then I'm gonna show him my.
Let me see it.
We're gonna take a pause.
Oh yeah, man. Is that the Japanese one? Yes, it is. Yep. That's the Japanese Mewtwo.
What? Yeah.
That's the awesome. There's nothing like a vintage card, honestly. Like we'll never get back to vintage cards.
No, I do see that there is, and I only half caught it. You can get it ready, buddy, but you need to be patient. Wait. Is that they're bringing back the Team Rocket stuff potentially?
Yeah.
Set, and I'm like, oh yes,
yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, it is. I'm super, like, I call it stupor stoked because like I'm in a stupor about that. Like I have been wanting a Team Rocket set to return for, I would say, at least the last year since we pulled things.
Yep.
Started going. I think Team Rocket is the most
and
valuable in my opinion.
Maybe they were hinting at it with the Giovanni cards.
Yeah, maybe
Charisma's in 151 or something, maybe.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think more so. And see, this is the differential. Like this is the bigger differential when it comes to like figuring out what Pokemon's next move is, right? And they know how to capitalize on a trend, right? And so by releasing 151, they harken back to Kanto, they harken back to the original. They know that if they bring out another specialty set sometime in the early next year, such as January, when specialty sets go out, because I mean, think about how those specialty sets roll out, right? You had Crown Zenith last year, right? You had Paldean Fates this year. There's always a specialty set in January, February, always. So I think Team Rocket will be released. It'll be something like Team Rocket Strikes Again. That will be what I hope. Yeah, I think it would be great. And bring back the Dark Pokemon. Now imagine Dark Charizard coming back into play, a hollow Dark Charizard, like an SIR.
Dark Ninetales or Raichu.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, just imagine having 18 special illustration rares.
Could you imagine with the way they do the special illustrated and the full arts, if they did that with a legendary version?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pop that those cards would have?
Could you just imagine the craze though? Like, I mean, we thought 151 was something. Just wait when they go back and start doing Team Rocket and Legendary Collection. I think the most honestly, if they bring back Firework Reverses, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well just start preparing now for Christmas.
You better go get a loan out. You got to go pull a loan.
So
there's no way
with your business, starting your business and everything. When did you start your business?
August 1st of 2023 is when my official license started. We actually started closer in like the end of June, but didn't decide to go official with it until August of last year.
Okay. And so what all does that entail for your business for everybody to know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm out of Ohio, obviously, where you guys are as well. It's my dream. I'll just give you the heads up. My dream is to own a physical brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I want an actual card shop in where I'm at in Ohio. We don't have one. We have plenty in the city I'm in, but in the suburb that I'm in, we don't have one. And it's a very underserved market.
What part are you in Ohio?
I'm in Southwest Columbus. Yeah. So I'm in the Southwest Columbus region. So the Grove City area.
Okay.
So there's not one in this area, but the thing is like, I see a need for a community to be built. And there is such a strong community already in the surrounding area that I know there would be support for a store, and I know that there would be support for the people who would want to be there. I see a need for people to stop rallying against each other and start rallying for each other. And I think, and I believe you can do that through like things like Pokemon, for example,
Awesome.
or just collectibles in general.
I
So
love
my goal is never to scalp somebody, or my goal is never to one up somebody in the market. My goal is never to like always get full price for something. I don't really care about that. I care about making the money in order to keep my business sustained, but I care more about the joy it brings, and I care more about the people that are part of that. And that's why, you know, I'll give out packs all day long to people. You know, like I've got bins of packs just over here for that reason, because I just want people to be happy. And I think the experience is more important than the cash.
I agree. The memories, and you know, that kind of
Yep.
circles back to our experience a couple weeks ago, which, you know, I've been struggling with that video. I recorded a lot for our challenge, and um, you know, we had some awesome moments in a very short amount of time at that event.
Yeah, that was a crazy day for me.
So okay, that gentleman is our TCG judge for at the local shop.
Yeah,
that's why we were hanging out there, because we know him fairly well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, when it was Travis introduced me to you guys at the show. He's like, "Hey man, these are my good friends and R&D." And I said, "Oh, this is great, cool." And then all of a sudden we're pack battling, and all of a sudden we're making videos. And then that dude jumps by and hands us those vintage French first edition base set packs.
Yep.
Oh, I was like, "What? Like, what's going on?" And my hands were like, I mean, you saw it, man. My hands were just absolutely
and
shaking.
that was like, and part of me kicks myself in the butt, because all the stuff before that he was handing out,
like, yeah, like the what was it, the Neo Genesis promotional binder that
yes,
he had
and,
3 of them things.
and this stuff is like, I haven't seen. I collected when base set came out, and then, you know, I was at that point, I was in a lot of sports, and it was hit or miss whether or not, like, growing up, you know, Pokemon was fun, or if you were looked down for on it. And then I can't even remember what they were. I can still remember being so upset. Somebody got in my binder and stole my cards.
Oh.
And there were like a couple of my hollows at that point.
Oh no.
And I can still remember, and I can't remember what hollows they were. I can just remember being like so mad and upset. And it was at that point I was like, you know what? I'm done doing it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I've not had that experience, but you're not the only person I've heard that experience come from. You know, it's a major challenge. You know, so I went out yard sailing all day today, just because.
So did we.
I like to go out. Like, I'll give you, like, you can't see it. Actually, you can see it. So if you look up here, wait, where's my camera? There you go. If you look up here, so this is a 2005 what is called a polyfoil poster, so it's very rigid.
Okay.
I got that for like $1 today at a yard sale. Some kid had it and his mom was just getting rid of it, so I got that. I picked that up. I got a couple of plushies. I got a few things to like put in the shop or whatever. I got these dope mats that somebody had. Here you go. I'm getting them cleaned. So there's the Charizard one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then there's this Evolutions.
Oh, there you go. Is that from NAICs?
No, it's not. It's not.
We did Evolutions last year.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have to do some research on where that one's from. But I do love it. So it's kind of hard for me to like want to not use it. And then this is the Pokemon Go Eevee one. So yeah, so I mean, I just find some of these cool things to put up in the shop, or and it's all stuff that I'm. So if you asked me before about what's in my collection, honestly, it's probably memorabilia. That's the biggest thing that's in my collection, memorabilia. When I open my store, which is my goal, when I open my store, I want it to be packed with as much nostalgia as possible. I want people to walk into it and feel like I'm home. That's where I'm at. So, but I will show you one thing. Zach, hold on 1 second here.
So what is on your bucket list of memorabilia to get? Oh, you got the magazines.
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I got the magazines. Yep. So I'll tell you about those in a second. So when I told my friends at work, because I have some very supportive friends at work who own a video production company, they kind of kickstarted my business by handing me a literal box of just all vintage cards. And I was thumbing through it, and I'm like, okay, so I saw a lot of Team Rocket, and that's my favorite set is Team Rocket. And so I found this first edition Charmander Team Rocket in it.
That's awesome.
This is the first card I pulled out of that box, and this is the first card that I had graded ever. And so this is probably the one card that I'll keep in my collection forever, because this is the first card that set my business really on fire.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
literally on fire.
Literally on fire. That's why I have him. But yeah, man. So the same guys who helped me out get my business moving or have supported me this whole time through everything, thick and thin, they went out and found those magazines for me and bought them as a gift when I hit 250 subscribers on my channel. So that was a gift from them. So yeah, that's the thing about Pokemon, man. This is a community that there are people who are not even in the community.
So I've got something for you. Then. So you like memorabilia and stuff.
I do.
So we have a friend that we've kind of navigated through and met through like Gonzo and some others. His name is Son of Merc, and I had won this.
Ah, yes, the infamous Cosmic Eclipse blister pack.
But what he sent with it, he sent two. So I will have one for you when we see you.
Oh, no way. Oh, the tattoos.
Yes. He sent us 2 packs of sealed tattoos.
Oh, those are so cool, dude. Oh,
so I will make sure we get one over to you, man.
Oh, that's so gracious and generous of you, man. Oh, you don't have to do that, but thank you so much. That's so cool. I love that stuff, dude. Love that stuff. The thing is like when you walk into some place and you see those things and they just take you back, that's the point. That's the point for me. The experience, the nostalgia, like, you know, I mean, not just playing the game or pulling the cards or, you know, just like opening packs. Because every PokeTuber under the sun is going to open packs. That's just the nature of Pokemon. But what really makes I would say not even just a collector, but really makes a fan is the love of Pokemon. Not just the ripping packs or selling or buying or even collecting cards. It's the fact that this thing spans 30 years.
Yes.
You know, and it's one of the most lifelong things you will ever experience. It's literally like the movie that just doesn't die. It's Sharknado. Okay. That's Pokemon is like
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. Yes. Fast and Furious 32. Family. Right. Exactly. That Pokemon is like that. It is timeless. It's classic. It's going to continue. Same thing with Star Wars. Same thing with Star Trek. Same thing with the Power Rangers. Like, I mean, Ninja Turtles. You can name any IP. Guy. Dude, I don't even get me started on Power Rangers.
Rider
okay?
Race
like,
2.
Here. All right. Here. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Hold on. You see him in the background there? That's my Red Ranger, Dino Ranger. And that was a gift from my daughter. She found that at a vintage toy store.
That's awesome.
And a consignment store, yeah. So that was a gift from my daughter for Father's Day a few years ago.
I'll see if I can pull it up. And part of me in that moment was kicking myself in the rear. So speaking of yard sailing this morning, and maybe I should have. I didn't pull the trigger on it.
Oh no.
So found this on
the Kenobi.
What is it? Can I see it?
Yes, they had it for $4.
Oh, you should have picked that up, man.
I was gonna offer to. I might still go out tomorrow and see if they still have it.
Aren't you guys leaving for card party?
Tuesday.
Are you leaving Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Tuesday night. So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right. I sat there and like I didn't have 4 ones. I didn't have anything. Like I had $1 and then some big bills. And I'm like, I don't want to insult them and say, hey, will you take $1 for it? And then I don't want them to be like having to break a 50. And I was like, I'll just pass. And then I'm sitting in the back of my mind checking the eBay stuff. And I'm like, I could flip it. I could flip it.
You could. Yeah, you could flip it.
I don't know.
The thing is, like, that's the difficulty with being a collector of things, right? Is like, you want to be so involved with the thing that you're collecting that you're on either one side or the other. You're either collecting because it's just something you want to collect, or you're collecting because you know it's going to retain its value. And at one day, it's an investment for your future. And that's the difficulty that I have. Like, I'll start collecting when my store and my business begins to take off, because then I know that these things will turn in. Like, I'm building, honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm building a legacy for my daughter, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I die, my legacy is going to be the fact that Dad opened a card shop, Dad opened a collectible store, and people know Gary, the CardFather, because of that, you know? And that's the thing. So I'm in the rock and a hard spot about collecting. Like, do I need to collect for value, or do I need to collect just because I enjoy it? So does
she collect then now still?
She does a little bit. Yeah. So when we, 151, if you ask me, Team Rocket's my favorite set. 151 is my modern favorite. I love 151.
Still trying to master that one.
I have mastered it twice. So we've mastered it twice, and my daughter has she's about 90% of the way through it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's hers. I don't touch it. Dad does not touch that for business. Dad doesn't touch that for fun. That's all hers. But Dad's mastered it twice because I was flying through packs and looking for reverses, and the one reverse holo that was eluding me was the Electabuzz. That thing was just eluded me for months. Yeah, every day, all day, man.
At this point, I'm like, I'm okay if I just get at least one of every card. Like, I don't even care if at this point if it's a reverse. I just want to get I want every spot filled.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, man. Well, listen, you in exchange for your generous gift, you bring your binder to me, and I'll make sure it gets filled. I have literally thousands and thousands of 151. So I will make sure I take care of you. I will make sure I take care of you, man.
All right. So speaking of collections and stuff and everything, what are your top 3 favorite Pokemon that you have?
That's a good question. So I'll give you the top 3 of my favorite Pokemon, and then the ones that I have in tow. So my first love is Umbreon. Okay. I am a dark Pokemon all the way kind of guy. So I love Umbreon. It's the sweet innocence, like, don't mistake my innocence for mercy kind of thing. Yep, exactly. Yes. Well, that's funny because here you go. I don't know if you can see it, but there's my Umbreon plushie, and there's my gigantic Umbreon Funko Pop. Yep. So Umbreon, it would be my first love. If I had to pick one of an evolution. Kanto, if I go with the starters, because that's where I'm from, is Kanto. It's a toss up between Charmander and Squirtle. I think Squirtle, I love his bald head. Charmander, I just like the fact that he's a fire lizard. So
fire.
It's a toss up between water and fire. It's really hard. I really could care less about the greenery. Like, I eat enough salads. I don't really care about greenery. So
if you're picking your starter, which one you picking as a starter?
Charmander all the way.
Man,
Charmander all the way.
I don't know. I struggle with that one.
We picked up
the Game Boy with Pokemon Blue. And that way he was like so excited. He goes, I want to play some old school games. I'm like, he goes, I've never played any vintage games. I'm like, there's some more gray hair. Yeah. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Here we go, bro.
I started the game and I was like, I really want to pick Squirtle. I really wanted to. I was like, but I couldn't because I know he's going to want Charmander to eventually turn into Charizard. So I picked Charmander, which I don't dislike. But yeah,
you know, the first three, the Kanto starters are always the hardest to choose from because they're all really, really good, and they each have their own really cool faculties. But we all know that fire is the best out of them all. So it's just the way it works. You know, I think Blastoise is probably the coolest looking in his final evolution, right?
I mean, he has cannons.
He does. That's the point, man. I mean, he's got cannons. The cat is like loaded anyway. So that's if I had to go Kanto, so it's Umbreon. Kanto starters are definitely going to be, you know, a Charmander and with a toss up to Squirtle. And just because I love him for all that he's worth, Cubone, because he is always angry.
Okay, so have you heard the story about that?
About him being always angry?
No, the Cubone with the Charmander parallel?
No, I have not. But wait, no, refresh me. I think I've heard this.
Oh man, I'm gonna butcher it. It's something to do with maybe it's mom, and that's why it wears the skull. They say Cubone is Charmander without the flame.
Yeah,
it's something to do with his mom, and that's the skull that it wears.
Oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Well,
which is kind of now whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's still a little crazy.
It's also super confusing too. Listen, I just like him because when he turns into Marowak, he's still basically pissed off. So
touche.
I love that.
But there's a lot of similarities between those two, so that also makes sense.
That does too, yeah. So if I have to go in that order, it's Umbreon, Charmander, and Cubone. That's a good question too.
What, buddy?
What about the Cubone thing?
That he is supposedly. Will you get your elbow out of my leg? That he is supposedly Charmander, but without the flame.
Yeah, can I show them that now?
Yes, you can show him. He wants to show you another card real quick.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So hey, in the chat, is it Pokehave? Jave?
Yes, Pokehave.
Pokehave. Thanks for this. Thanks for the sub, brother. I appreciate that a lot.
Pokehave is a great person.
I'm working towards 500. Oh, is that the XY?
XY, yeah.
XY.
Yeah, that's the XY. Yeah, you know, you can always tell it's the XY because the background of the card, not of the Pokemon, but actually the background of the card is a little more faded than the base set is.
And the base set is red, but hold on.
That's really cool though.
The HP thing in base set, it's red.
Yes, exactly. Yep, you got that too. Yep.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that.
What happens to it?
Love those cards. So we'll talk Charmander or Charizard here real quick for a second. So that's your Charizard, right?
Yeah, it's mine.
Okay, here's my Charizard.
Oh, here we go. Oh, there you go. Now that's a Charizard.
Yeah, Expedition non-hollow.
I gotta show you one of mine that I graded.
All right, I feel like we need to. All right, go ahead and show them.
Wait, hold on. Guess the grade real quick. Guess the grade real quick.
That's gonna be a 10. I can see it.
Yeah.
And now which one is that? Is that the V-Star?
Yeah, Rainbow V-Star.
Is that the Brilliant Stars? Wait.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the Brilliant Stars. Yeah, that's cool. I love those.
Thanks.
I love those. So here you go.
What? Oh, okay.
There you go.
Also,
All right, we're not having a contest here.
Oh no, dude! Listen, no, we're showing, bro. We're not having a contest. We're showing off the cool cards we have, man. What are you talking about?
I just want to show you how big of a Mewtwo fan I am.
I love it, dude. I love it. So here, let's talk cool cards. If Team Rocket's my favorite and 151's my most modern favorite, I would say Tag Team is the Tag Team is right there at the top of all of them. Okay. I love the designs.
This whole page is Mewtwo.
That's such a dope binder. You know what? Didn't I give you a Mewtwo for your binder? I think at the card show I gave you a Mewtwo, didn't I? Yes. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I remember I gave you a Mewtwo for the binder for your binder challenge because you guys were doing a $30 binder challenge.
We were doing the binder challenge. Those are upstairs. Will you go upstairs in my office and grab the deep pocket monster binders? They're on the printer.
Yeah. Which one is mine?
Just grab the binders. I'll know which one.
But anyway, I love the designs of the GX cards from Tag Team. For me, they're just they're just so cool, man. Like, can I please get these back? I guarantee you they're coming back with Tag Team. They've got to in the next 2 years.
So I have that one. I'm a Pikachu guy as well with Raichu. I think I put that one in my other, but I do have that one. And then I have the gold version of it.
Oh, yes. I'm not as fond as the gold version as I am the full color, the full art color.
So
I love seeing cards, man. Oh, yes, the Dark Raichu. I love him. I have one of him where he's damaged beyond all get out. I have one, but he's damaged like bad. Like really bad.
Since he's in upstairs.
Run quick, Dad, quick.
Oh, it's not gonna happen. Shit.
Is that
hold that thought? Hi, buddy. Nothing.
What?
Nothing. We're looking at cards.
Tell me.
CardFather,
what happened?
He was just grabbing a binder to show me cards, homeboy.
Wait a minute. Isn't it that mine?
No.
Wait, but I have.
Oh, yes. Wait, which one is that? Is that Delphox?
That is Charizard and Braixen.
Oh, Braxton. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I love that one too. I love all the tag teams. The artworks on these tag teams are just dope. Like here's Snorlax and Eevee, the Rainbow Rare.
Yes. I think this has probably got to be one of the most underrated arts.
Oh, for sure.
In Scarlet Violet.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely.
All right, you like vintage, right?
I do enjoy some good vintage, yes.
I think this is subtly becoming some of my favorite sets.
Oh, is that Delta Species?
Species.
Yes. Those are very underrated in my opinion. Delta Species, I think anything Gold Star, even though they're super valuable, the Gold Star stuff is just super cool. Love it. Absolutely love that. I love seeing, yes. Oh, that's so cool. My dude. See, the thing is for me, it's not about who has the best cards or who's got one card that somebody else doesn't have.
Yes.
For me, it's about just showing off and seeing who's got what. And that's what I try to like through the Pokemon community. That's what I'm trying to teach my daughter about, right? Like that's one of the things I'm trying to teach my daughter is about appreciation, about loving the fact that someone has a cool card or has pulled a cool card. So there's
Merc. That's who I was talking to you about earlier.
All right.
With the tattoos.
Okay. Yeah. Merc, it's nice to meet you officially. I'd like to see a versus set with Pokemon battling. Oh,
that would be cool. Kind of like the Charizard Mewtwo and the Charizard Venusaur.
What I would like to see is, okay, you really want me to blow your mind? Because I've had many conversations about this. I want Pokemon to modify the way that the actual TCG is played by allowing tag teams in the game.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that would mean having cards that correspond. So like you have the Mewtwo V-Star and the Charizard V-Star, and how they are exact opposites when they're battling, and they're the linked artworks is what they're calling them, right? The linked artworks.
Yes.
Like Deerling and Sawbuck, like you have the linked artworks. I want to see that happen in play, where you can bring in a linked card in play and tag team against another tag team. I think that would change the way the whole game is played and modified. That would be a whole new spin to the way the game is played.
That would be really cool.
Yes. It would add so much to the game to be able to bring in an Eevee and a Snorlax and actually play those cards in Link.
That would be so cool.
It would probably be the game changer for the way the game is played. But I do like the way Merc says that. Like, I agree. I want to see a set where it's versus together. I think that would be a dope set.
So you kind of touched on it right there when we were having that interaction conversation about cards and stuff. What are some things you've taught your daughter through collecting Pokemon cards?
Yeah, that's a challenge still in itself. I'm teaching my daughter the art of patience and self-control.
Yeah. Does it get better as they get older?
No. No, patience and self-control is the two biggest ones.
He found them
because we
is this the one you did?
Oh, did we? Yeah, yes it is. That's it. Right. Yep. We like to we're in a fast food society, so I like to try to teach my daughter patience and self-control through those things.
I think
the phones are doing it to us.
Conversation with some other. I said put it in your binder. Goofball. Is we have a generation being raised that has more power in their hands than anybody ever has before, but they'll be the first ones to say, like, hey, what time does the store close? Or
right,
something.
Exactly.
And it's like, you have that ability to look it up quicker than anybody ever did. And they don't know how to do that. It's like,
right.
They don't understand what it was like when we were growing up of, hey, we had to go to the library to rent books, to do a book report or a project of some sort. Like, there's that instant, like, oh, bing, I got what I need. I'm on to the next thing.
Well, you had to know how to use an encyclopedia.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Google didn't exist back then. And
part of our school supplies was a dictionary and a thesaurus.
Exactly. Yeah. You had to learn how to use those things. To go back to your question, though, the one thing I think that we're trying to teach my daughter, Emery, is responsibility. Honestly, the Pokemon being, I'm not saying it's the cheapest option out there for TCGs. There are other ones out there that are, just as cheap or easy to get into. But when it comes to like having responsibility with packs and buying packs or buying Pokemon, like, she has to learn that there's a thing she needs to get into, and that's earning it.
Yes.
So we're trying to teach her that when she wants to open a pack, she has to earn it. And so by doing that, she has to learn to take responsibility, that if she wants something, she has to provide for it. And she does that quite frequently. I mean, not to put her down or anything. She does that really, really well. My business, we operate through TCG Player quite a bit. I have my business runs through TCG Player mainly. And she helps me with packing orders or pulling cards for orders, listing cards, sorting cards. So I pay her 0.5 cent a card she sorts, which, she goes through 500 cards, she's got, just under 50 cents to do, to get ready to pack. So, I mean, some people call it slave labor. I call it teaching. Yeah.
And part of that is like, the catch to that is she agreed to that. She could always negotiate it or ask for a raise.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Part of learning. That is part of learning.
So that's one of the things that we're trying to teach her. And then, of course, we have my niece and my nephew that live with us, that we take care of them. And it's the same concepts with them as it is, with my niece, it's teaching her about respecting the things that she has and how to put things away and keep things nice. And with my nephew, it's about taking ownership of something and having pride in it. And by doing that, you're never gonna leave it on the floor. You're gonna make sure it's sleeved. Learning that correct binder etiquette. The right way to do a binder
behavior.
Yep, good binder behavior. Thank you, Pocket Monster. Appreciate that. Having that binder etiquette, that good binder behavior, and then earning the things that you want versus just expecting them to be handed to you. So
yes,
I may be the oddball in our community with
No.
a lot of the stuff that we do, but
I don't think
I
so.
have some pretty strong morals and values about those things.
We're right there with you on that. I think you and I align pretty well on that. Like for example, we're leaving for card party this week, and I said, hey, buddy, if you got stuff you want to do down there, we paid for the hotel. The tickets were a Christmas gift. You got stuff you want to buy, you're gonna have to have some money. So he's been doing his lemonade stand. Made a little over $100 of his money for him to spend.
Right, man.
Yeah,
that's right.
I kind of made an exception this time just because he didn't, with it being so early in the summer, he didn't have as much time to do his lemonade. But usually our rule of thumb is, whatever you make, only half you're allowed to spend.
Yeah.
So if you make 150 goes into savings.
That's right.
50, it's your 50. Yeah, I'll hold on to it for you. I'm not telling you what you can and can't spend it on. We went down to Myrtle for his birthday, and we left on a Thursday, and Friday, Obsidian Flames had released. He spent like $250 all on Obsidian Flames for his birthday. Pulled 3 of the 4 Charizards. And that was actually the start of our channel. Was on vacation, so
that's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean,
we're getting down there on Tuesday, Javi. Well, late Tuesday, early Wednesday. We're leaving like late Tuesday night, and it's like a 14-hour drive.
Oh, you're gonna drive down?
Unfortunately, I really wanted to fly, but the downfall is like the flights were going to be through Spirit were okay. But then in order for us to select seats, it was another $200 per person. Yep. So you're adding another $600 onto the trip. Still need to rent the car and everything. And I'm like, then also, asterisks, I'm limiting myself on what I can bring back. If I drive, we have a little bit more room.
Well, Dad, they have this wonderful thing, technology. It's called the post office.
True chat. Oh, we are getting there probably super early on Wednesday, Javi. And we'll be there Wednesday to Wednesday, 12th to the 19th.
That'll be cool. I'm excited for you guys. I wanted to go down. Maybe, Gen 3, I'll be able to go down when you can.
I have a feeling it's going to be in Texas. I don't know why. Like, there's no inclination, no nothing. I just figure since he went to California, now Florida, he'll go into the middle.
Right? Well, I'm hoping is that he gets wise and he goes to like Nashville.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know how I feel about it. It's only 8 hours for me at that point versus 16.
Yes. Yes. But I'm just not the Nashville scene. I've been down there for jiu-jitsu when we went down for our team training and stuff down in there and a couple comps. And I like the outskirts, but Nashville itself, the chaos and traffic and the partying is just not a me thing.
Yeah, well, I get that. I mean, I can understand and relate that. But
that's why I was kind of glad it was Orlando, not like Miami.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get that no matter where you go. There's the traffic and the nonsense, especially any big city town, like worth its grain of salt. You're gonna get that no matter where, and that's I'm talking. I need him to bring it to the Midwest. I need Pat to bring it to the Midwest. So that way, Chicago, I'd be accepting. I'm not a big fan of the Illinois Chicago area. I lived there at one point, didn't like it. Indianapolis, we could do Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, went there for the Big Ten championships.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, there you go, brother. I'd love to have it there. Shoot, Pat, bring it to Columbus. If you're watching this, bro.
I really thought that was going to be this year, especially after we hosted NAICs. I thought that he was going to do that this year.
Yeah, that would have been cool. That would have been really cool. I mean, there's a lot of good places he could bring it, and there's a lot of cheaper places than Orlando too. But
but I think that's also his way of trying to link the family-friendly atmosphere. Yeah, so they can do stuff and make a family trip out of it, and keep everybody encompassed into the community.
Absolutely, yeah, and that makes sense. So
yeah, what has what has been your favorite memory within the last year through the Pokemon with your daughter?
Yeah, there's been quite a few of them actually.
Or top 3, however you want to word it.
Yeah. So I mean, we've done a few videos. I think the biggest memories for me are when her and I sit down together and we just open packs. There's no camera.
Yeah.
There's no reason behind it. There's no, fame or glory other than just cracking a pack and just loving the fact that I get to do it with my kid. That's my biggest memories are being able to do that. Like was it last night? It was 2 nights ago. She comes downstairs here into my makeshift office / shipping area where I do all my work for my business and for my main job. And she just looks at me and she gives me those puppy dog eyes. She goes, "Dad, can I open a pack?"
Please.
And it's like, "Did you do your chores?"
Right.
And so, and then, and just sitting here with her and her friend, giving them a Temporal Forces pack, because that's what I had sitting in the bin, and watching her open and pull, and not pull a single hit card, but still love the fact that she pulled Hollow and she loved it. And her friend this was her first time her friend opened a pack with her. So those
awesome.
are the memories. Yeah, those are the memories I care most about. I miss my 5-year-old little girl. I really do. But now she's 12, and this is probably, yeah, I'm struggling quite a bit with it, and she's not even getting married or going to college yet. So
on the daily,
yeah, it is.
He's gonna be sending him upstairs here in a few to go get ready for bed. But hey, you want to ask any more questions real quick?
Yeah, man, Ryder, get over here. This is your gig, bro.
Yeah, come on. We asked his.
What's your favorite?
We asked his top 3 favorite.
What's your favorite thing to do?
To do outside of Pokemon?
It doesn't matter if it's with or without or both.
Okay, I'll give you one of each. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So inside of Pokemon, my favorite thing to do inside of Pokemon, and this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, okay, is I love sorting cards.
Really?
I love sorting cards. When they say you got to catch them all.
Yeah.
Friends, I've caught them all. Like, I mean, I love going through the cards. I love looking at them. I love sorting them. I love figuring out what cards what. I love going through and pricing my cards out. That's my favorite thing to do. It's therapeutic for me to sit down here and do that work. Now, outside of Pokemon, I would say the biggest thing I like to do outside of Pokemon is I like to mow the grass.
Yes.
Where I live in Columbus, it's very rare that I have about an acre of property in the city. And so because of that, I have a 0-turn mower, and I call her Betty. Kind? John Deere. Okay. Nothing runs like a deer. And I call her Betty. And so Betty and I will pop AirPods in, and I'll just mow. So
that's what I did this afternoon. We went yard sailing. Then we went got his haircut before vacation. And then we got home, went next door, and I earbuds in and hopped on the mower. And I don't have an acre, but not long enough. Sometimes we have a field behind our house. I'll start mowing it just so I can have more time.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love, I would say a close second, or if not equal to mowing, is yard sailing. I love the hunt. I love going out and talking with people. I think I gave my contact information out to about 30 people today. But yeah, that's some of my favorite things to do. That's a good question. Thank you, Ryder.
What about what?
What about both? Like,
he said one in Pokemon and one outside of Pokemon.
I gave you one with Pokemon, one with outside.
I meant like with and without too.
What do you mean?
Like combined it with and without.
He did mowing is without Pokemon.
So if you're asking me about, so one of the things I like to do with Pokemon that's not involving my business, right, is I love to give packs away. That's one of my biggest things, especially to children and kids. I love to give packs away. When you and I did our pack battle, for me, I didn't like, as a business owner, people would look at that and say, "Oh my goodness, that's so much money." Like, why are you? To me, that I don't care about that. I I don't care that pack was like a $5 pack. I don't really care. The fact that we got to pack battle and I got to open a pack, you got to open a pack, and I inevitably lost. That's all I care about, right? So
No,
that's one of my.
It'll probably generate
but
more
then
for
you
you.
just gave me the cards. What's the favorite hit you've had
out of a pack?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. When I first started my YouTube channel, I'm not a stranger to streaming or videoing because I'm actually really good at it. I've done it for 15 plus years in my life, for my job and church and all that jazz. But I opened a Crown Zenith tin. It was a Galarian Zapdos and a Galarian Articuno tin.
Okay.
I got it stupid cheap at Walmart. I don't know why I did, but I got it super cheap. This is before I even decided to open my business, but I just started doing pokey cracks, on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the first pack I opened, I got a Radiant Charizard. And
yeah,
to me, that was a massive hit. To other people, like, it's just a Radiant card. But to me, that was a massive hit. So in my first video that I put together and edited, and I threw up on my YouTube channel, all you get is this meme now of me going, Radiant Charizard. so all of my
that's
friends
awesome.
Radiant Charizard.
Yeah, now I got Ryder doing it. Thanks.
Right? He's a mockingbird at times.
That's all right, man. But that was my favorite hit. I've never pulled a Gengar, alt art from Fusion Strike. I've never pulled a Charizard EX from 151. I've never pulled any of the, like, Moonbreon. I've never pulled that. I've never pulled the biggest hits of my life.
Awesome.
I would probably freak out inside if that happened. But there again, nature of the beast.
and it's weird. So like Paldea, when we were ripping through Paldea, Iona was the card. And so we pulled the Magikarp, and we were like sitting there looking at the Magikarp, like, this is a really gorgeous card. It's so cool. And now we're sitting there like, at least I do. I don't know if he really registers with him. I sit there and I'm like, dude, you pulled the most expensive card twice. Holy
Right?
crap.
Like, yeah. And so that's my favorite. The Radiant Charizard is my favorite pull, even though it's not like the best Charizard of the bunch.
All right. How do you go upstairs and get ready for bed?
I'm going to stream
shortly. I got some more questions to ask. We'll have some more. Nope. We'll have some more parent talk.
But you said shortly.
That was a short joke on my part because I'm quite short.
No, if you don't listen. So pick your stuff up. Go upstairs.
Can I tell them something before I leave?
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below if you like mine and his cards. Bye. Good night.
Have a good night, Hunter. Or Ryder, sorry. I was reading Pokehunter's comment there for a second.
Oh, yep. I've done that.
Sorting cards is quite therapeutic. Yes, it is. It can be. Sometimes it can be maddening too, but yeah.
Grab your stuff. Take it upstairs, please. All right. So let's see here. A couple other ones I was thinking as we were sitting there. So since starting your business and starting your channel, what have been some things? Which one of you had more fun with? I guess. I mean, I guess they kind of go two in hand because one leads to the other, kind of. And I guess this aspect kind of feeds into what you do for your day job as well. So maybe you like that other side, but which one have you had the most fun with so far?
That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. They say in business that exposure brings business, and then they say business is what pushes exposure, right? So I think for me, I can't choose between. I think they're both the same for me.
Okay.
I love running my business. It's quite frankly the most frustrating thing outside of a teenager that I could ever think to do. because I'm always having anxiety. It's my baby. As Brian over at Pokémon, he and I have talked, and as he's told me before in the past, he's like, if you're not worrying about your business, then you're not doing it right.
I was gonna say, was the anxiety about the business or was the anxiety about the parenting? Okay.
Both. It's there, both of them. So it's just there's anxiety all the way across the board. Make sure I'm doing things right and I'm not over leveraging or doing stuff. But in turn, because I like that so much, the content creation for me and the community networking and just the personality makes it worth it. It's just I love them both equally, and unadulteratedly apart from each other. I don't think I could love one more than the other. I do. I will say this. I love ripping on GameStop though. Like if I could do that all day long, I would rip on GameStop.
I saw that's what majority of your content has been about so far.
Dude, I will rip on GameStop 100% of my life if I could. I cannot stand that place. Excuse me. I used to go in there all the time. Not anymore. I can't stand those guys.
That's awesome. So kind of bringing this full tilt is with the TCG store and some of the I'm not sure, we haven't really talked about what all you have for sure with your business, but we did open one up on stream and I still do have one. This is one
there it is.
I have to mail it out. I'm mailing it out to my buddy. I was waiting on a couple of things to get here before I could send the package out. But what's you have your mystery packs. You have obviously I'm assuming some singles and stuff on there. With this, is this something that you are planning at some point to hand over to your daughter?
Absolutely.
Is that something that she wants? Or is that something you're slowly working to? What do you envision, I guess, with the business and with the family aspect of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll start with the family aspect and then what I envision for the business as it evolves more and morphs and more into a brick store, right? A brick and mortar. It being a legacy for my daughter is the important thing because my main job is I'm a community manager for a live streaming company for churches. So we're a video platform. So we handle a lot of churches. I'm also an ordained pastor in the Assembly of God. And that's been my first that was my first job out of high school and college was being a pastor. So, awesome. I unadulteratedly, I believe in Jesus and that's me. But in that respect, we don't make a lot of money as pastors, nor do we have retirement. And we also don't leave legacies for our kids because we can't afford to usually. So with that, my building of a TCG store is something that I want to be left as a legacy for my kid. I want her to be able to have something physical and tangible to operate and to have something that can continuously grow and morph and change, but more so because I see a need in my community for a beacon of hope, a spot of hope, a spot where people can come and not feel constrained by the world and not feel constrained about their daily life and not feel constrained about all the anxieties that the world brings. It's about being that place where people can come in and know the CardFather is not going to sit there and judge you for who you are. He's not going to judge you for what you do, but he's going to love you regardless. And you're going to have a spot. This is your home. This is your place. Come on in and enjoy yourself. There's nothing here that's going to stop you from being who you are, but also there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing what you love. So it's about that for me. It's about being that community. It's about being that respectable place for people, but then also leaving that for my daughter to continue, for my grandkids to lean into, to say that they had the coolest grandpa ever, and to legitimately know it, that's the thing for me, man. Like I don't care about riches and fame. Yes. I'm not in this business for riches and fame. Do I want to make money?
These conversations with Ryder.
Yeah. Do I want to make money? Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the way the world works. You have to.
Yes. You have to have money but you don't have to. My big thing I've been having the issues with him in sports mainly is humble. Be humble.
Yeah.
He watches a lot of soccer. Like soccer is one of his big things, and
Oh yeah.
all of them, they get done and they have their showboating and everything, and he goes, well, we were outside kicking the ball, and I took a break to go grab a drink, and I come back and he's practicing his celebration. I said, what are you celebrating for? And he goes, well, I scored a goal. And I said, yeah. I said, how do you feel when somebody on the other team scores a goal and they're screaming and ha ha and everything? He goes, well, sometimes it bothers me. And I said, if it sometimes bothers you, don't you think what you're doing is sometimes going to bother somebody else? I said, why don't you just score the goal? You go to your teammates and high five them and get ready for defense. He
Right.
goes, but why can't I celebrate? I'm like, oh. Come on, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's probably why I got on him a little bit of like, hey, we're not going to just one up cards here. Like,
oh yeah, but there's for me, there's a level of I want to play into the excitement. Like I want somebody to feel excited to show me things, and
yes.
I want them to be like, I have something you don't, and I want them to know that I think it's awesome, because I think that also brings a level of humility, that when somebody doesn't care about the one-upping or the overtaking of somebody else, it diminishes the play on that happening. So I coach my daughter's soccer team, right? I coach her soccer team, and the rule that we have in celebrations is that celebrate with your team, not individually. And the thing is like your team is the point of this, not you. And that's the whole goal, is like about morphing. I'm like, this gets me going, because it's literally about morphing the concept that it's not about you. And that's what Pokemon's about. That's what life should be about. It's not about you, so
depending on where it goes, I can start getting emotional on this stuff.
Well, take that for what it's worth, man. Like, I mean, outside of sports, outside of Pokemon, life is not about you. You should be focusing on others. When you serve others, doesn't matter if it's through sports or through Pokemon. It doesn't matter if it's through pumpkin harvesting. I don't care what it is. You could be underwater basket weaving. When you do it for somebody else, right? You're doing it for someone else. Service before self. And that makes it all worth it. There's a reason why we all work so hard. And if we do it for our own personal gain, that's vanity has failed. But if we do it for somebody else's gain, we will exceed and accelerate that beyond measure. So there's just so much going on with that.
Yeah. The kind of piggybacking and bringing things together, like what we were just talking about before, is we had a service our minister was given about boasting, and if you have to boast, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And in essence is what he's talking about, and that's what I was trying to bring over to Ryder. And anything, have your excitement, have your passion, have your joy. Don't do it in a way that's going to run down others and take that away from them. Like in sports, for example, we can stick with soccer since that's relevant to both of us, is it changes season to season who your team might be, who your teammates are. And let's say you go in and you go and you're showboating and everything else, and then next season comes around and some of those kids that you were showboating against are on your team, and they don't want to pass you the ball. They don't want to be around you because they think you're a jerk. Like, your brand is very important on how people perceive you. And so try to have that conversation with him quite often, of like, hey, like, once you do something or say something, you can't take that back. And if it's in a negative light, you have to do so much to reverse that. You only get a first impression one time. And, if it's a bad first impression, buddy, you got a lot of making up to do.
Well, and there's no potion and there's no full heal that can make that, there's no berries in life that are going to make that change or bring you
back.
There's
not a trainer card to give you.
There's no supporter card you can pull to make you draw 5 more cards, and it's not going to happen. Yeah, no. Exactly. So there's a level of humility that I think that even the most stubborn child learns, and the way that we do it is through Pokemon.
Yes.
So
yeah, my biggest fear when I found out that my ex was pregnant was that when I found out we were having a boy is, oh no, I don't want to raise an asshole. It's the only way I can think of it. I don't want to raise a kid that everybody's not going to want to be around, or they think he's a jerk. And so like that weighs on me constantly, like, just through life and issues with that is, am I setting the right example, or am I doing enough to help him realize like what's good and bad? And
for sure.
there's other aspects to that kind of like make me go, am I doing enough to offset what are some of the other examples give him? I guess, or some of the examples I've had in my life is like not every example, and you've seen it. Not every example is a great example, but I think every example can be a good example of what to do or what not to do.
Right.
For sure. So I hope I've at least brought that out to light to him in a way that he understands that. But
hey, in the few encounters that I've had with you guys, and especially at the card show, you're doing it right, Dad. You're doing a great job. That kid's on fire. He's a hustler. He's smart. That kid's gonna go places.
Oh, man,
he's gonna do big things. You're doing it right, Dad. You're doing it right. Don't worry about that,
man. It's one of those that you won't know until it's later down in life. What things were you can second guess, and you could say, hey, what this and that, and then 20 years from now, it's like and we're not I don't know, we're not getting any younger. And then I always have that like sense of finite on stuff, and it's like, man, what if something happens and not here, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's a fear that I've had in my past too. When my daughter was first born, that was one of the scarier things for me.
That anxiety.
We had anxiety. We actually had a miscarriage first. And then we waited 2 additional years before our daughter was even conceived. So my biggest fear for my daughter was that she was not going to be smart, and that she was going to be teased all of her life for who she was and what she believed in and what she liked. And I can't tell you how many times I've been proven wrong on that fear, just because my kid is probably the fiercest, smartest child I've ever encountered. And she stands up for everything she believes in, back and forth and in between. And so, the only reason that you would ever fail Ryder, quite honestly, man, the only reason you ever fail him is when you decide to stop caring. That's when it all goes downhill.
And I go back and forth because I never want to feel like I'm a good dad, which sounds horrible to say, I guess, at some time. But I also feel like at the point, like when you think, I'm good enough, like he could have a lot worse or whatever, you're not trying. But it's also like that double-edged sword is like, am I doing enough? Or, what could I be improving on? Or, would he have been better learning a lesson this way? And, all that stuff that you don't know until life plays out. But it's, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Take it one, Ryder. What is he? What, 9 or 10?
He's 8. He'll be 9 in August.
Okay. So he'll be 9 in August. So take it in stride. Much like we grind, and I'm going to pull this back into the Pokemon world.
Yes.
Much like when we grind, especially when playing the video games, to level our Pokemon, to evolve them by getting their HP up and getting their stamina up. This is all part of that process. So you're never going to feel adequate. Yeah, I never feel adequate enough that I'm doing enough of the things for my daughter. I'm always questioning whether or not I was too harsh on her, or whether I, for example, I'll even give you the biggest example. So 3 days ago, she comes running to me, Dad, my phone's not working. Dad, my phone's not working. And it wasn't. And I already knew what the problem was. Took it to the Apple store. They told me exactly what I knew. It's water damage. We have Apple Care. Everything's good and kosher. pay $100, I get the phone replaced because that's how Apple Care works. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you, Lord, for that. And I immediately come home and I start to rail on the fact that she's got water damage and she's gonna owe me back. So she's got to pay me back for this phone. And that's where I have my mentality change. That's where it's like, am I railing too much? And I don't think I am now. But you know, she's gonna be doing lots of yard work and she's gonna be helping me out the next card show. She's gonna work for me. And you know, it's all these little things. So I don't want to harp on myself anymore, you know, than I have to. But I'm always constantly evaluating. I'm always constantly challenging myself, trying to be better. And honestly, man, we will fail our kids if we decide not to do that.
Yes. It's I don't know, man. It's and there's, you know, I'm probably a little bit more like flabbergasted or wherever, just because we've had some stuff here in the last few weeks, you know, of recent that just kind of makes you like sit back and go, ah. But yeah, let's tie this back in with some more Pokemon stuff.
Absolutely, man. But hey, you know, your kid's awesome, by the way. Don't forget that. So
no, and I think so. I think my biggest struggle with that, you know, I love my son to a fault. Like, probably I prioritize. To me, I I prioritize probably too much in full transparency, but especially in his younger years, it's one of those that once especially the first, like, let's just say 5, just to have an even number, there's so many firsts that you never get back.
Yes, that's true.
And those were the ones that like I prioritize more than anything else, because once it happens, it happens. And yeah, you're going to have more occurrences, but you still weren't there for that. And you know, I hold it a little bit closer because I have 50-50 with his mom. And so, you know, the crazy thing that hit with me that I think sits on my heart heavy all the time is that, it's either 90 or 95% of the time you will spend with your kids in your lifetime is from the time they're 0 till the time they're 18. And after 18, it's like 5% over the rest of your life is when you see them. And it's like, I've already lost half of that because he's with his mom the other half of the time, which is just me being like selfish, but it also like, it weighs in on me a lot to think like that. And it's, you know, then it's like, all right, so am I doing enough in that other 50% to kind of offset some stuff?
Yeah.
You know, am I making up for it? Am I trying too much? And those are the things that kind of weigh in with me a little bit. But yeah, he's a goofball, but it's also like we run out of time to do everything he wants to do, or I want to do. It, you know, that's why I think I'm looking so forward to next week, is just because, you know.
Yeah, there's something to be said. So, you know, you have that situation, and I'm sorry about that, man. Like, that's a very difficult situation. We kind of face something half with that. We have temporary custody of my niece and nephew from some of the things that happened with my sister. Mm-hmm. And at first that was a challenge for me. That was a challenge for me because I'm with Ian and Ian. I don't like kids. Ian, I'm with you, brother. I don't like children either. And I dislike teenagers even more. But the challenge for us is like, we are changing the way that my niece and nephew think and operate. Yes. Like, their behaviors have to be changed from all of the distress that they've gone under, all the trauma they've been under, and all the things that are happening. And we have to remember and be solace in the fact that we are planting seeds, and by planting the seeds correctly and then helping them grow, we're hoping that when they leave us, they will then eventually they will grow, and that seed will take off, and that we'll see dividends and harvest come from that later in life.
And how old are they?
They're 4 and 7.
Yeah.
So, you know, we are in that process. And so we have to change their entire mentality, and it's working. And with the Lord's help, we're making that better. But you know, we're making that easier for them, and we're taking the brunt of that. But we also have to keep in mind that we're planting seeds now, and that's the important part. It's like when you invest in Pokemon, it's the same concepts. You're not investing for right now. Like everybody wants in the Pokemon space, everybody wants the card they can't have right now. Like that Moonbryon, we saw that in the last 2 months. That card skyrocketed, right? You get it graded a perfect 10, it's $1,500. It's the same thing with the Fusion Strike. It's the same thing with Crown Zenith Alt Arts and the Glaceons and all of those. That's the thing. Everybody wants something they can't have right now. But the thing that even with investing as well as with children, because children are an investment, it's not about the right now. It's about the road down later. It's same thing with sealed products. So you have to be in that mindset, Dad, that what you're doing now is enough, but don't lose heart at the fact that there are some times where you feel like you're not producing enough or you're not planting enough. Don't lose heart, because you are doing the right things. As long as you care and you are focused on that care, you will see harvest come at the end of the road. You got it, brother. You got it. We're all in the same boat together, man.
And I feel for you with the situation right now, because the other part that people sorry, I was reading Hunters. Yes, Hunter.
Yeah, I got you. I fully agree.
And I think the struggle that maybe people don't want to realize, especially when you're bringing in other kids in the situation, is they are a product of their environment that they have known and already had. And so maybe they're used to doing stuff that we would say like, hey, that's horrible, but to them that's their everyday part of life, which is sad. I had my prior job to what I have now, I ran a workout facility for a hospital that was inside of a vocational school. So I got to work with older populous community members and high school kids. And there was this young lady, this high school girl. She was a junior, and she would come down and shadow in our facility and kind of help what needs clean, working with patients and stuff like that. And I had patients come up and like, hey, her body odor is really bad. Well, here we find out she's never had running water in her entire life. And so like she wasn't somebody who got to go to other people's houses. Her situation was not good at all, to the point like, I worked with a school, and the school allowed her to come in early so she could shower and do stuff at the school and the school locker rooms to take care of herself in ways that she didn't know. We had the conversation with her teacher, and they got her taken care of. And so I think a lot of times people don't realize, like, maybe it's you look down on it because that's not something you do, but that's their you're changing their course of their brain. So and it's going to be a godsend for them, that you guys are able to do that for them. And hopefully they're also at that age where they can look back and say like, hey, I'm very thankful for what you guys were able to do for them.
Absolutely. Man, I appreciate that, man. I just want to be the coolest freaking uncle. I just really want to be the coolest freaking uncle they've ever had. So I mean,
I get that. I get that, man. I was that way with my oldest niece. Youngest niece, oldest niece there's like 7 years difference, and so she was spoiled with me because I was right out of high school, and she was my little buddy. We did everything together.
Yeah.
So, she is actually in a lot of channels. I don't know if she might be lurking or not, but she does a lot of channels. She has an Instagram as well. She usually goes to some of the shows, but now she's getting ready for college, and it's like, holy crap, when did that happen? So like, she messaged me about going to a show tomorrow. Actually, I think in Columbus, actually at Evolve.
Okay. Yep, Evolve's got a show. Yeah, I've never been either.
So we might. Yeah,
neither have I.
I might surprise her and sneak her over there tomorrow. Go over there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I'm prepping for my next show, which is next Saturday up in Upper Columbus. So it's in Polaris. Yeah. And then trying to get into another card show in Zanesville, and then I got a card show at one of my local high schools in July, and then I'll be back at the card show that you met me at in August. So
awesome.
Yep.
Well, let's kind of talk about some more stuff here, if you don't mind. You got time?
Listen. I am golden, man. This is my working hour. Like, I don't go to bed until 3 a.m. because I'm working so hard on my business.
I want to keep talking through some of this because it's Now I got stuff on my brain. So even if I hop off here, I'm not going to bed anytime soon. So let's talk about we touched on it earlier. Is you want to leave a legacy for your daughter, and we talked about that. Did you have conversations like you want to open up a brick and mortar? Do you have conversations with her of like, hey, what is something you would envision a card shop to look like, or what would you want to offer, and like let her have her stamp, so that way when that transition happens down the road, it is ready for her. Do you have those conversations with her?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me answer Ian's question first. No, Ian, I don't make them offers that they can't. They make me offers I can't refuse, unfortunately. As a vendor, that's usually what happens. They make me offers I can't refuse. But so yeah, to your question, so Emery, that's my daughter's name, by the way. Yeah, so Emery and I, we talk quite frequently about the different aspects of what business is and the different aspects of what we want the card shop to look like or do.
Okay.
We also talk frequently about how business should be run. Like I'm setting in motion, again, planting the seeds now for the future. I'm setting in motion a process of how things should be done, right? Between us packing orders correctly and putting the cards in the right way, to that way when somebody opens the package they see the card first, not necessarily the packing slip, right? Getting an experience built. So her learning that it's about
or anything,
right? It's for her, it's learning those things. So we do talk frequently about that, but I'm also under the same mindset. And then don't get me wrong, I'm not disillusioned here in any way, shape, or form. That if my daughter does not want to have the business, that's fine. I want her to do what she feels called to do. If she wants to go and work for the, for Peace Corps, or she wants to be a pastor, or she wants to go into the military, or she just wants to help birth baby giraffes in Africa. I don't care. Whatever she wants to underwater basket weave while singing the national anthem. I don't give two rips. I want her to do whatever she's called to do. That's the important thing for her, that she's feeling fulfilled in her life with her family. And the card shop, the business, the the YouTube channels, the Facebooks, the internets, those things will all be there for her to have when she's ready and when she wants them. And if she doesn't, then that's okay too. So yeah, we have frequent conversations about how cool it would be to have extra Pokemon things in the store. So like I found suppliers who are helping me get Pokemon plushies, or helping me get keychains, of the Pokemon figures, like Pikachu or whatever. And she helps me pick those things out because I want her to feel an investment in finding the cool things that people will like. Because obviously she's 12. She's going to know a whole heck of a lot more about what's cool and what's not than Dad will, So yes, we do quite frequently.
So now, while we do have a minute, since he is not down here, two things. One, I'm going to talk about business. Rock Sandy created this binder, and I don't know if you've had the chance to see it or not. Have you had the chance to see it?
I have not, but I like the way the binder looks so far.
So Rock did an awesome job. It is both top loaders, and sleeved cards,
and sleeves. Okay, so it's got I like the middle insert.
Yes, so you can do your sleeved ones in the middle and your top loaders on the back.
So cool.
So
yeah, I like that.
We are semi-attempting a video while we are down there, potentially, but I had to do this when Ryder's not here because otherwise he will throw a fit. I picked up this gorgeous reverse.
Ooh, yes.
Charizard XY? From XY. This thing is minty. It is gorgeous. I'm going to go through the process because down at Card Party, CGC and PSA are there.
Yes.
I want to go through dropping this off at PSA. And then I think it's going to at least get a 9. I honestly think it could potentially get a 10. The only thing I don't know is if there's any scratches in the reverse holo. Is that flipping it and investing it and then reinvesting the money from the flip into our channel and trying to grow stuff that way. Maybe that point we can start doing some like live rips, kind of some stuff that we can bring more that doesn't take away from my 9 to 5 money to do it, or things like that. But and if he saw this, he would freak out wanting it because Charizard's one of his guys. But it was that aspect that just kind of intrigues me with the business part of like, you talked about like we all want the instant, but what's the down the road? And so I was having these conversations about I'm reluctantly thinking about grading my Arceus, my gold Arceus from Crown Zenith and flipping it.
Is that the same one that you pulled on your other podcast episode?
I did, and that's the reason why I don't want to, is because I pulled that in a meaningful. That was my number one hit I've ever pulled out of a pack, and it was on a stream with a person I consider a good friend, and so that's where I'm like, I don't think I can do it. So then I was actually talking with Travis about picking up a few singles from him, ones that I have tried to price chart out that have a good flip return if you grade. And so a couple of those that I thought about. And then you're trying to find some ways where we can use what we have to grow what we have.
Absolutely
as well. So
that's the kicker thing about business, man, that I've learned in this venture of starting my own is there's a couple of key pieces for anyone who's involved in wanting to do business when it comes to TCGs. The first is the market is what determines your business, not what you're putting into the business itself. The market does. You have to make sure that you're staying with the market.
Yes.
No one can predict the market. Okay. I love all the PokeTubers out there. I think each one has their own niche. I think each one has their own particularness that makes them unique, which is great because that's how you grow.
Yes.
But I don't believe each one of them has a solid, firm foundation on the market entirely until the market changes. And then they come to the table with the knowledge. So there's just those things that happen in that respect when it comes to market volatility and stability. So the first thing about business is buy low, sell fast.
Yes.
That's the first thing for me. I don't have an attachment right now to any one card except this one, right? Because this is the one that helped kickstart my business. I don't have an attachment to cards right now. I do have an attachment to characters, and I would love the ability to, one day own a full master set of Crown Zenith and just own it, right? Or own a Moonbryon 10 from PSA. I would love that. That would be so amazing. But the key for me is that I'm bringing joy to people, and I want to bring it at a fair value. I want to bring it with transparency. I want to bring it with trustworthiness, and I want to bring it with the least complications possible. So buy low, sell fast. And that's the key. So always returning, always putting that next step in play by putting the seed down. So I would say if that's going to be your first step, that's the first step to doing it. Take what you're going to make out of that and then reinvest it in the right way in your business and in your channel, in your son's life. Like the enrichment piece of that, like Danny Phantom, I think has a unique perspective on things. Like when he started his channel and he started telling people about how to do a Pokemon business, Danny Fantip was the first one I started reading and listening to. And he's like, you have to start small and start in increments. And when you start small and start in increments, you make that progression. I have a piece of paper that sits over here on my desk where I do all my main work, and it's got my 5 business goals. And the 3rd and 4th business goal is stay out of business debt, get 500 subs on YouTube. I'm not
close,
joking.
Man. Pretty darn
That's
close.
It. I'm getting there, right? So the thing is like I'm doing an increment. I'm not shooting for the long game. I don't want 1,000 subs right now. I don't want 1,000 subs with 3,000 viewing hours or 1 million short views yet. I would love to get there. I would love to be where Ian is, right? 5,000, subs. I would love to be where you guys are at with just over 500 subs. I would love that. but incremental growth is the more important because that's sustainable growth. So if you start with one and you do an increment and keep going and keep reinvesting that, eventually you'll start seeing dividends on those things.
Kind of like kids.
Much like children. Yes. Much like children.
Even though
you can't technically, you shouldn't physically assault your business, nor should you your children. Okay. But like sometimes they just drive you to that madness, but it's all good.
So with your business, we kind of circling back that, what made you get into these? Your CardFather mystery packs. Before we get there, SDC wants to know, what is numbers 1, 2, and 3 business goals?
Yeah. So let me read it here. So the first one is I'm trying to see it from over here. Oh, first one is build credibility. So I feel like pandemic really shot the wad there on credibility, because you had all these like scalpers and scammers who were out buying up all this stuff and then scalping it for 5 times what it was really worth or what it should have been. And they made the hobby really difficult and challenging for people. And that's all hobbies in the TCG world, whether it be non-sports or sports related. So they made it really challenging. You saw that with Lorcana in October of last year too, right?
Yeah.
So build credibility. That's number 1. Number 2 is make more content. It's continuously making more content, because I believe that building credibility, I'm going to do that through making content. Then number 3 is to eliminate and stay out of business debt. That's a key factor for me, because debt crushes families, debt crushes finances, debt crushes businesses. There's good debt and there's bad debt. There's good debt when you leverage it correctly, and then there's bad debt when you go too far, too deep, too quickly. Yes. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, 500 subs on YouTube. I hit 250 just over a month ago, which was one of the biggest highlights of my day. I got to give out some really dope stuff to people, and I got to mail it. One was in the Philippines, and I got to mail that. That was an interesting it was an interesting adventure. Another gentleman was number 250, and I blessed him with a gift that I had to fight UPS on to deliver to his address in Canada. So building credibility, doing more content, staying out of business debt, get to 500 subs, because then eventually 500 takes me to 750, and 750 takes me to 1,000, and so forth and so on, and just continuously incrementally build out of that. And then the last ones are more motivational. I have 6, 5 of them, 5 and 6 kind of combined into one. The 5 and 6 is grind. And then number 6 is I can do this. And the reason I get emotional with this, because I am naturally a pessimistic individual. Naturally, I'm negative. Just, I think most people are. But I'm also my harshest critic. But on top of that, when I don't see success where I think success should be given and I should see it, I get really, really hard on myself. And so I know that it takes a long time. Like, for example, Ian, those guys, they didn't get to where they were in a year. They got there where they were in 3 years. Same thing with, Pat, and with PokeRev and Real Breaking. I think it was just last year Nate got 1 million subscribers. So I mean, and he's been doing it for 14 years. So like, I
still remember, didn't Rev have a video of him saying like he didn't know if he was going to be able to keep doing it or not? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So like, there's the aspect of grind. PokeNE, Brian over at PokeNE, he commented on one of my channels because I was about ready to quit. I was about ready to dump the cat and just move on. He messaged me, and then he sent me an email, and he said, don't you dare quit. He's like, don't you dare quit. You've come too far. And if you quit now, you're going to fail. You're literally failing yourself. He's like, don't you dare quit. And he's like, I will literally drive to Ohio and kick your butt. Awesome. So, and he's in Nebraska, man. So, yeah. And so it's grind, and I can make it. I can do this. It's not about smarts. It's not about skill. It's about heart, and I
I'm
can
back.
make it. So those are my. What's up, homie?
I am back.
With the clean, you're squeaky clean now, bro.
In with it.
No, don't get comfy.
Don't get comfy. I love that.
Come on.
Hey, Ryder, thank you for being one of the best experiences I've ever had in Pokemon. I really appreciate you, man. You are
Thank you.
a true fan. Not only that, you're an awesome kid. You're a hustler. I cannot wait to see how far you go with all the cool things you do and with all the cool things that Pokemon's going to lead you to. And you have an amazing father, by the way. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay. So every moment you get with him, cherish that moment. All right.
All right. Thank you. I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Here, we'll do our high fives and then I'll be up as soon as I can.
That's dope. Ah, that's so dope.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, I'll be up. I'll come and wake you up if I need to. I'll be up.
Okay, can I play like this? It's not like any GTA YouTube. It's like this guy.
You can turn the movie on.
It's like the guys who do camping stuff, but the guy who makes really small houses. Then
I know that kid's got some dancing moves, bro.
Movie. Or not.
Mm.
Hey, go on.
Okay. Bye.
Deuces, sir.
See ya.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Bye, buddy. Okay.
How many subs do we have?
I don't know. Can you please? You're gonna lose TV.
Okay. No, I'm not.
Hey. Go on.
Of course.
Man, you're gonna get me crying on stream. Oh. Shut the door, please.
I
So
think
it's like it's moments like that where I love my son. Like my son, my son's my pride and joy, man. And like
I get it, man.
it's like, hey buddy, it's bedtime. You gotta get in there and go to sleep. And he has that FOMO. He's afraid he's gonna miss out on something.
Yeah.
But then like we've struggled here recently because like when he was at his mom's Wednesday and Thursday, he was staying up till like 2 a.m. Then today, like, yeah. And then today we get him up and we go yard sale. Like he kept falling asleep in the car, kept every 5 minutes, just to the point it's like 1 o'clock and like we're getting his haircut and the barber like had to wake him up because he's just so exhausted from staying up.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and so I'm like, we were coming back we went to Costco in Easton, and we were coming back from there, and I'm like, dude, you cannot go to sleep on the way home. Like, I need you to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
It's like, he does that stuff, and it's like, hey, we need to get you in bed, and he's like, I don't want to. It's like, come on, man. Like, I don't want you to either. Like, I want to stay up and have movie nights, but like, dude, you gotta sleep, man, and you're not sleeping.
So, Dad, there's one key trick that I've learned as a father in my time being, and it's called melatonin.
So, my son is a very inquisitive, and very like, if you tell him like Pokemon cards are made with like red ink, and he's going to be like, well, why did they pick red over blue? And like, what is so special about the red? What made that process? He's very inquisitive, and a big part is he has trouble shutting down. And to the point, melatonin, yes, but then he wakes up at like 4 a.m. wide awake. Now, what we have found is there is a magnesium.
Yes.
There's a type of magnesium, and we got it through Kroger. It's like a calming one, and it's a powder, and it has like a fruit punch taste. And we put that with water on days where we know he's going to be struggle to go to bed. And it helps the brain shift from that like the light bulbs going everywhere to like it slows it down and lets your brain have that shut off to get into sleep. And he quickly quickly, like 5 minutes. And I think they sprinkle a little bit of melatonin in there with it. But the magnesium switch that they put in there helps it so the melatonin is more efficient.
Yeah, we do the same thing for our niece and nephew. Every night they get 2.5 milligrams of melatonin, a nice little thing of milk, and they get a vitamin gummy that they get from the morning and the night. And 15 minutes later, it's nighty night, and now Uncle Gary's going downstairs to work on business and cards, sorting cards, and talking to people in China, because sometimes his real job has to deal with partners on the other side of the world. So, yeah, good times, man. It's all fun and games. It's all fun and games.
But then, like, I sit here and I'm like, hey, like let's hang out for a little bit because tomorrow he goes to his mom, and then I have that like, he's wanting to spend time with me. I should let him, and then he's gonna go to his mom. I'm pulling it up right now real quick so you guys can see. Maybe Calm.
Oh, the Calm. Yep.
It is. I'm trying to see. There's a specific type of magnesium that they have in there. I actually got it from my jiu-jitsu coach. He's the one that turned me on to it. Magnesium carbonate, is that the one? It's very helpful on neurodivergence, to help them with their shut off and stuff. So yeah. All right, lost all track of thought. Okay,
no, you're good, man. What else you got for me?
This is where we were. What got you into wanting to do the mystery packs?
Yeah, the mystery packs. So so that was birthed out of a desperation moment. I started ripping too many things and was like, hey, what do I do with all this bulk? And that's before I stumbled into the world of bulk and TCG Player. But
is it beneficial?
Like,
hey, is it on TCG Player?
Yeah, look, I'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
So I saw PokeRev do his mystery packs, and Danny was doing their mystery packs, and I'm like, yeah, those are cool. Those are great. And then I saw everybody on Facebook had like, hey, buy $25 or $30 and you get 500 cards, right? And then they're like, well, it's guaranteed holos and all that stuff. I'm like, well, I want to do something a little bit different. Not that I want to get rid of bulk, but also like none of these things guarantee you anything, right?
Yeah.
They don't guarantee you any hits, regardless if the hit's a V card or it's an alt art. They don't guarantee you anything. So I reached out to a few people and I looked for a company that would help me make these packs. I won't give away who it is because they're very small. But they literally, I send them, I think it's 1,000 of each thing at a time. So whether that be 1,000 coins and 1,000 sleeves, 1,000 packs, and 10,000 cards, and they put them on hold for me, and then they just make these packs. They do them by specific specifications for me. So I want 2 packs. I want 5 or 6 sleeves. I want X number of extra goodies inside that I send you. And then I want this much bulk. And then I want these many holo rares, reverses. And I want these number of hits inside. And so they said, okay, you develop your packaging. We will, put it all together for you. We'll seal it, and then we'll send it to you once it's done. There's no UPCs on them because, I haven't bought the UPC on the code. I didn't want to scan them and sell them at retail stores. I wanted them to be for me at card shows or even on my own website. So it was something that I looked into, and I got it done. Now that does 2 things. One, it brings, because it is a guaranteed pack, right? Like you're going to get guaranteed hits in it, whether they're V cards or alt arts, it doesn't make a difference. There's guaranteed hits. Kids will love it regardless. They get a nice deck. They get some really cool things in it. You get the chances of opening 2 packs. Could be anything. Could be anything from any generation of packs that are available. And you get that mystery feel for a pretty good price. But on the flip side, it builds credibility because I'm not making them. I don't sit down here. I don't pack them things. So I'm not storing, like, I'm not like, I'm not like janking the system here by putting them in there. So I don't
Did
make
they come
them.
up with the packaging and stuff too, or did you come up
No,
with
that was all me. I use another company that because I have a graphics and media background by nature. So I just designed the packs, and then I had them ordered through another company, and then I just mail those off to the company, that handles the packing for me. So and then the mystery
it's really
packs.
hard not to rip this open right now. I just want you to like the kid in me is coming out.
Don't do it, man. I'll give you. I got more. You can have another one when I meet you later. So, but yeah. So then the 5 booster packs came out of another feel of like, well, some people don't want to get guaranteed hits. They want that surprise that maybe they can find an XY pack in their bag, or maybe they're hoping for a 151 or something.
Is that a possibility?
It is. Yeah, it is. Yep. It is. It's a complete. Nothing is actually seeded in there. That's why there's no guarantees.
What packs do you like? Because I was sitting here looking at that. Now that you said that, 2 Pokemon booster packs, random. Yeah. So like, can it literally like? What is your eras of possibility? Or is it?
It's X, Y, and above.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. So. I'll give you a little secret of what it was. So when I sent, because this was like the most expensive venture I've ever gone into, hoping I'd get a really good return. I sent off my first batch of packs. I did 36 for them. It was the first run. So it had to be 36 mystery packs developed, so they wanted a guarantee of 72. So I sent off 4 booster boxes between Paldea, Obsidian, XY, and I think another one was did I send Fusion Strike or Astral Radiance? I know I sent 4 booster boxes, and one of them being a vintage box. So and so when I did the first 36, there was somebody was going to get a really awesome pack in there, at least one awesome pack. But then I re-upped and I did another 250. So that was Gen 2 of the packs. And then that I sent out Evolving Skies. I sent out Fusion Strike. I know that for sure. I do believe I sent out Darkness Ablaze and Silver Tempest, a lot of Sword and Shield in that era. And then I sent out quite a bit of Scarlet and Violet. So there was a lot of that went out in that era. So the last 250 that I have, with the additional 250 I have now, could be literally anything from XY and up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's no seeded guarantees. I'm not doing a 1 in 6, or I'm not doing a 1 in 10. You're not going to pull a mystery pack out of the bag and then realize it's red, gold, green, or blue, right? Yeah. Or silver. I'm not doing the PokeRev thing. It's literally 5 randomly inserted packs for $25. Go to town. That's it.
And that is, I was going to say, so this one I got is the 2 booster packs and the card deck. And then the other one is what?
So that one you have is the guaranteed hits bag. So that's going to have guaranteed hits plus the 2 boosters and the deck and the accessories and all the cool little things that come in it. And then the other one is a 5 booster pack, which is 5 randomly inserted booster packs. And then I also give out extras. Like we give out the sleeves and the dividers and stickers and all the fun things that you would want in something cool like that. So yeah, there's always a little bit of extra
of the booster pack ones.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, I think there was some. I know I sent out some Paldean Fates in the last set I ran through with those.
Okay.
So there's quite availability on some really good hits in those packs. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But like I said, nothing is seeded. Like nothing's like 1 in 6, 1 in 10, 1 in 20. I don't do that. There's no reason to. Like people want value because they want value. They don't want value because somebody's telling there's value. They want to look at something and be like, yeah, that's going to be dope. So, and it's the first iteration of these. Like these probably will morph into something different in the future. But it's also a really good way for me to. Though. Yeah, and it really does. Yeah, but I mean, this is just a really good way for me to have something that's mine. It's branded. It's mine.
Yeah.
Right. It's my business's. It says CardFather on the package. You know, it's got my
Yeah.
logo, and it's me, and it's me trying to bring something to the community that I saw a gap in. So
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Especially with the two options. You know, I think Rev has his of just the packs, and maybe the person that has the most options as far as their packs, I guess, would be Vert. Shiny Vert
yep.
does a lot of options with his, um, and then I think even Vault has the Slab City packs and stuff. But yeah, I think having the two options of the booster pack along with the guaranteed hits or the all booster packs is a pretty neat one. I know Ryder had a lot of fun opening it. I will say that.
I had a lot of fun watching you guys open it. So thank you for
And
that
hitting the
honor.
hits in the packs. It's not just that we got like the guaranteed hits
Yeah.
and got the coin and stuff, but then also having the packs and having the packs hit, and it was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
I really appreciate that, man. No, thank you. That's a humbling thing for me because it's not always a guarantee. Like somebody's going to get the packs and they're going to get
That's the
major
gamble.
hits
Yep.
inside. You know, that's the animal of the mystery thing, right?
Yes.
But
Hard
little
addiction.
exactly. The little insider thing is eventually what I'd like to do is I'd like to morph that into you're going to get one graded card, an 8 or above, and 3 mystery, three booster packs.
Now, are you going to do that where it's like an 8 and above through like PSA only? Or are you going to do it to where it's like PSA, CGC, AGS, or any of those?
Yeah. So the thing you want to focus on real heavily when it comes to like graded cards is resale value versus collector value. So I would put in those packs probably PSA, CGC, Beckett. Would be the only ones that I would put in those packs. Where for graded value alone, for resale or just value in general, but for collector's value, I'm gonna get so much flack for this. I know I shouldn't say it, but I'm an AGS guy. Yeah, I'm an AGS guy.
See, we haven't graded with them yet. We do have the discount thing for the affiliate for us, though. Like we did sign up for the affiliate for the channel and stuff as a way for us, kind of like what we talked about before about the investing is trying to find a way for us to make some money to continue to grow the channel in other ways. And that was one of the first ones we went through. But yeah, we want to send some cards out to them as well. But
yeah,
I also think it has potential.
I love them. I love them.
Yeah, and that I was gonna ask when you showed that is I know people are snobs for their company that they like to go to, PSA, CGC, and being blessed with the connections I've made through the community of a lot of them routed through Gonzo is once I stumbled on Gonzo's channel and watching some of the people he interacted with and Opossum Bud and some of those guys is and Shiny Vert, like Shiny Vert's PSA only, Gonzo's PSA only. But like CGC is a big error. One for error cards is a lot of their big stuff. They all have issues. I've seen people who are sending the cards to get graded. They're getting a decent grade, but then having whitening on the edges that weren't there beforehand.
For sure.
Getting lost, things like that. Once they have been checked into the facility, not even mailed back out, but lost once they're in the facility. I think the more that you can, and I hate to say it, kind of computerize and automate, and you don't have that question. I think it is super beneficial, or will be at some point, because you won't have as much potential for error or potential of questioning, like, why did this not get a 10? Why is it an 8? And this, that, and another. I think it has potential in the future.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's something to be said for having collector value versus resale and resale value. PSA, their standards of quality have gone down while their cost has gone up. And that's a challenge. And Beckett, the only thing that trumps a PSA 10 is a Beckett Pristine. So they all intermingle well within each other. CGC has done a really good job, but I think their screw up was, hey, give us your 9.5, we'll make it a 10. I think that was the dumbest thing in the world to do.
Changing the labels, I think too.
Yeah, changing the labels. I think the eBay Vault thing is a cool idea, but again, it's a capitalizing system. I think GameStop taking in graded cards and then upselling them by 200%, that's also a dumb idea. There's a lot of things when it comes to graded cards that you have to be very, very selective with. For me, AGS, because of the fact that they are all computerized, there's no human hands touching my card in the grading process. They have the deep scanning technology. The AI recognizes through thousands and millions of cards. It recognizes that this card should look like this and it should be this. I just think it's a recipe for less failure in the process of grading the card. Plus the things that AGS or DSG there's another a Mana. The thing that they do that PSA doesn't is they give you subgrades. Now Beckett gives you those, right? CGC gives you some of those, but the thing
I don't know if CGC does anymore.
I don't know if I haven't graded anything through CGC.
I think they did away with it.
Yeah, but like with AGS and all these AI, you actually get the scans. You get to see where the scratch is on the hollow. You know why the corners are shaped the way they are. So it's one of those things. Now, I'm going to give you a hot take, and if there's anybody left in the stream who's watching and listening, I'm going to give you a hot take. I think grading cards is a waste of time and a waste of money.
Ooh, okay. You got to embellish on that one a little bit.
So, my first few submissions into PSA were bulk submissions, which should have taken anywhere between 20 and 25 days to return back to me. Took 2 months. And it was a waste of my money because even in a bulk submission at $100 for the year, at $25 a card, at 20 cards plus, was a waste of my money because the grades did not come back the way they should. So I sent a Miriam in that 271 we pulled. She got a 10, but then I also sent in that same set a Marascarada EX Hyper Rare, which was pristine, perfect. Should have been a 10. It was a 9. I sent in an Iono, which should have been a 10. It was a 9. Those things, like the fact that is, if you get somebody who's on the other end of that, regardless if it's John or Jill, and they're grading your card, however they're feeling that day, doesn't make a difference, right? It's the same problems that I have with TCG Player, because I run bulk and I run a lot of bulk through TCG Player. I am in the direct program, and it can work well if you know what you're doing and you do it right. Bulk takes a long time to move. It's slow, but in the process, it's whoever gets my what we call reimbursement invoice. That's where I reimburse TCG Player the cards. So they sell it on my behalf, and I send them the cards back. That they sold. Whoever I get on the other end, who's judging the condition of the cards that I'm sending them, make sure that near mint is near mint, lightly played. Whoever's judging that could have a bad day and could just look at all my cards and say, well, everything you say here is near mint is actually moderate. So there's a failure point there. Because there's a failure point, that's a waste of my time and that's a waste of my money. And when I value my time in my business as such, as being a liquid state for the cost, I think grading cards is a waste of time and a waste of money. I think for my business model, it's buy low, sell fast. So for me to buy low and then grade a card and wait 3 months and have it in inventory is not meeting my business model. It's buy low, sell fast. So for me to grade a card, I'll do it on consignment. I'll submit graded cards in for a bunch of people and do it on consignment. And I only charge $10 for that entire process. It doesn't matter how many cards you send in. I'm only charging you $10. And it doesn't make a difference. I'll do it for you. But I refuse to grade anything of my own from this point forward until I get to a point where I can just buy the card because it's already been graded.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one way to look at it. We've graded once, and that was through CGC. That was that Charizard he showed you. We graded the Magikarp, and then he graded Hyper Rare, Rainbow, Dragonite. And those were the 3 meaningful cards to us at that time. And we kind of just wanted to go through the process and see what it was like. And then this would be going down a card party would be the second round where we've decided hey, we're going to pick some out to do it. Now,
Well, see,
I
that
think the
makes
other
sense, though. That makes sense, right? That makes complete sense. Like if you're going someplace where they're going to be, and you can just take your cards right in, you're not paying shipping. You're not wasting time on the delivery. You're not hoping that it gets there by UPS or USPS. So that makes sense. Take your cards in, get them graded, pay the $15 or $20 or $50 fee there, and just let them send it back to you. That makes total sense, man.
And that's where I'm kind of going back and forth between which ones to go. Because if you drop off CGC, I think if you drop it off early, you can pick them up before you even leave Card Party. PSA is you drop it off, they will mail it back to you once it's done. And now you add that ripple of they're leaving with your card.
Yeah, which means they got to be super careful with it, and they're charging you shipping to return it back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I was like, and that's also where I was trying to be picky on which card I picked to grade through PSA, because of that return. Because I've seen, like, I know CGC is having trouble right now. People were mocking them for dropping their prices for their grading services, even by $1. But they said maybe you should worry more about delivery and the turnaround time instead of dropping the prices and trying to get more people in, which they weren't wrong. But then I'm like, all right, I try to play it safe with the Charizard. Everybody loves a Charizard. Charizard typically holds its value pretty well. So I don't think it's going to be like, hey, from the time I get this to where in like, even if it's 60 days, sure, we're tanking horribly, or 90 days. I don't think it's going to tank horribly. I could be wrong. But we'll see.
I think you're on the right track. I think you're smart with that. I think here's the thing I would say about grading cards. Do not, unless you're able to get it back in 15 days or less, do not grade anything modern. Not unless it's a set that's a year old.
Yeah.
Do not grade anything modern. The reason is the market volatility in singles is just way too unstable. So you could pull a where are we? I was
trying to get my hands on a Magikarp.
Yeah. So Magikarp would make sense.
That was one I was trying to buy to take with us to grade it.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense because that set's about a year old, and the market's probably going to go up or go down. So, just
the new Greninja, like Javi just said, that'd be one I would not.
Yeah, that's one I would not grade right now because the fact that card, it's guys, it's a literal race to the bottom when new sets come out. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been on TCG Player and I've refreshed every 5 minutes with an auto refresh, and I've watched these cards just tank. Like the only card that I think had a really good value return was the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Like that card went down to about $35, and then it came right back up to 45 in 2 days. So the Teal Mask Ogerpons, like that card just tanked completely. Like Carmine, she did well. Greninja's doing really well, but that's because of the playability. So grading a card that's like a year or older makes more sense. Anything
you don't have any Magikarps, do you?
No, I don't.
Dang it.
I got Magikarps, but not of the Paldea version. I got Magikarps for days, bro, but not the Paldea version.
That's funny.
I wish, and you know what? I will keep my eyes open for the next couple of days for you in the process because I do have some feelers and prospects out right now on some inventory. But yeah, I mean, there's with grading cards, to me, if it's not a year or older, I'm not really into sending it out. I did that with the Miriam, and I won big because I was immediately able to take that card and flip it because the value was still pretty high on it. I think I flipped it for like 120.
And that's the one from SV Base, isn't it?
Yeah, that was from Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I
forgot you won that card, Javi. I forgot you got that on a giveaway.
That's cool. Yeah, exactly. Because it is an evolution. Yeah, Eevee will always be a good card. Your staple Pokemon are always going to be the Kanto Pokemon are always going to be. I'm sorry, anybody out there who thinks Trico is a decent starter Pokemon to grade, you're wrong. Torchic, sorry, and until it becomes Blaziken, there's no reason to grade it. There's just those staple Pokemon from Kanto are always going to be the top tier grades, and you don't grade anything that's a year or younger. That's just that's my philosophy.
I agree with that. I guess the only perk would be is if you grade early, you could be the first one in the top.
Yeah, but then I mean, let's take an example like the Moonbryon, for example, right? I mean, guys, we're sitting at a pretty high population on a 10 with that card, and yet that card's still $1,500 average, right? Graded 10. So the issue that you face with sending cards in early is obviously paying the exorbitant fee to get them back early. There are resellers out there who are good resellers that they are able to rip open, a case of booster boxes, pull the hit, like the main hit, get it sent in, get it graded in 20 days and come back. Problem is,
can you imagine?
No, because my hands would hurt too much. I'm an old man, dude. No, but like there's something to be said about being able to do that and then flipping the card. But here's the thing, for you and me, it makes more sense for us to buy the card graded already. Somebody's already going to do it.
Yeah.
If the card market fails and falls on a single card, remember, raw cards values go up and down every day. The algorithms change and they go up and down every day. Graded cards, when a card falls in price, the graded card price falls as well.
Yeah.
So it's about picking the right time to buy into that card. So that's why my philosophy for my business is I'm going to reinvest everything in a buy low, sell fast strategy. And when I do, I can then pick and choose the cards I want to have in a collection. And I'll pick the cards at the right time in the right moment to buy that card, and then if I decide to flip that card, I'll wait until the right moment to flip it. And Rudy from Alpha Investments, like he does not do singles and he does not do graded. Like if you watch his channel, he does not do singles and he does not do graded because all he cares about is sealed product. But he will tell you that this is a waiting game. This is a long-term thing. So
so many different avenues and mindsets with it, but
absolutely,
that's what makes it awesome.
Here's what I say, dude. Take your top 3 cards that you really want to get graded, regardless of whether you have a turnaround, regardless if they get sent to you or not. And because you'll be at Card Party, take them down there and get them graded. That's the important thing. Like you're going to be on site, and that makes more sense than you having to worry about shipping them and then them getting there safely. They're already going to be in hand.
And that was the thing. We were taking this binder down for that specific, but I don't know, man. But we'll see what happens. So many options.
For sure. So, absolutely.
But let's see here. We're probably have to wrap things up now that I'm looking at. We're like a little over 2 hours here. But where can everybody catch you at, man?
Yeah, man. So you've dropped my my link in there, TCG link for my website, the CardFatherTCG.com. So CardFatherTCG.com. Literally, I'm on every platform, but I only focus primarily on YouTube and Instagram. Everything else is automated just because I don't have time for that jazz. So you find me on TikTok. There's only one of me. Yeah, there's the CardFather, and then there's the CardDaughter, and she's going to bed right now. So. So the CardFather on TikTok, CardFather TCG on TikTok, it's card_father_TCG on Instagram. Same thing with Facebook, CardFather official there. And then of course my YouTube channel, CardFather TCG. So yeah, that's where I'm at, man.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, hanging out. Honestly, didn't even plan on it being this long, but when we get chatting away and sidebar conversations and then staring it back on, it was a great time, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Well, thank you for the opportunity and the honor. I really am grateful for both you and your son, especially, because you guys put a lot of trust and a lot of faith into people like myself, and you're doing a really great thing. You guys have an awesome channel. I think you guys are nailing it every single day. Your kid is doing a fantastic job as a hustler and an entrepreneur himself. You keep teaching him right, and you guys are going to go far. So thank you for giving me the honor of having the ability to be on here.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate those words, and thanks for the moments, the packs, the memories that we got to make together, but with you there through you. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. Hey, we got a lot more down the road, bro. We got a lot more down the road.
Maybe see you at Evolve tomorrow. Maybe.
Well, I have church in the morning. And then because it is the Lord's Day, I will go to church, and then I will go have lunch with my family, and then it's a little bit of rest. Pool time before I kick up the business in the evening. So
There you go. All right, my guy. Well, I appreciate you. You have a good rest of your night. Thank everybody for popping in. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Awesome. Until next time, we'll see. We'll see what we got lined up. You stay tuned for Card Party, and don't forget to check out CardFather TCG's websites and everything else.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.